The artificial sun on Station Varela was dimming into its programmed dusk cycle, painting the alloy walkways with a soft golden hue. I leaned on the rail of the observation deck, staring out at the vast emptiness beyond the reinforced glass. The stars twinkled in silence, indifferent to the loneliness that gnawed at me. Humans weren't rare in this part of the galaxy, but they weren't loved either. Ever since the reconciliation accords, we were tolerated at best, feared at worst. I had signed up as a xenobotanist for the Galactic Coalition thinking I'd find a new beginning. Instead, I found politics, suspicion, and cold, efficient greetings. And then I met her. Her name was Ayari. She was from the Silthari people, a race known for their grace, luminous skin, and deep empathy. I'd seen pictures in textbooks, but none of them came close to reality. She entered the lab one morning with a tray of delicate blue moss, her silver eyes locking on mine. I just spilled an entire beaker of nutrient fluid in my rush to recalibrate the atmosphere pods. "Careful," she said in near-perfect English. "Your heart races too fast." "Is this fear or excitement?" Chuckled. "Maybe both." That was our first real conversation. Over the next few weeks, we became inseparable. We worked side by side cataloging rare plant life recovered from dying planets. She'd hum strange, melodic tunes while we worked. I asked her once what they meant. "They are memories," she said softly, "of people long gone. Songs keep them alive." I never told her that her presence was becoming one of my most cherished memories too. One evening, Ayari asked me to meet her in one of the biodomes on the far side of the station. I didn't expect to find it transformed. Glowing orbs of floating pollen drifted lazily in the humid air, casting a gentle lavender hue on the pond at the center. Vines coiled around crystal-like trees, and the petals of an alien flower opened and closed as though breathing. She stood barefoot in the pond, the water glowing around her feet. "You created this?" I asked, stepping toward her. "My people call it the place of still hearts," she said, dipping her fingers into the water. "It's where we confess truths too delicate for words spoken in the harshness of corridors and labs." I swallowed, unsure if this was a romantic gesture or part of her culture's rituals. She turned toward me. "Do you miss Earth?" "All the time," I replied, sitting by the edge of the pond. "But out here, I think I've found something I never could have had back home." She tilted her head. "And what is that?" "You." There was a pause, so long I thought I'd overstepped. But then Ayari stepped closer. The glow of the water danced on her skin like the shimmer of stars. "I was warned not to grow attached to a human," she said. "Why?" "Because humans burn bright and fast," she said. "Your emotions come like storms. Intense, beautiful, but always fleeting." Her words pierced deeper than she could have known. We didn't speak of love, not directly. But I could feel it blooming in the unspoken gestures, the way she gently fixed my uniform collar, the way she leaned closer when we laughed, or the way her fingers lingered just a second longer on mine during data transfers. But then the incident happened. It was a diplomatic reception, one of those stiff affairs hosted by the coalition to pretend everyone got along. I was required to attend as a human representative, Ayari as part of the Silthari ambassador's retinue. Some drunken diplomat from the Drax Syndicate tried to insult Earth, slurring something about primitive monkeys. I didn't respond, not immediately. But when he reached out and grabbed Ayari's wrist, everything in me snapped. I slammed his hand away, knocking over a table and drawing the attention of half the room. I didn't strike him, though I wanted to. But even a push was considered an aggressive act. Ayari pulled me away before security arrived, dragging me into a maintenance tunnel. "Why did you do that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Because he touched you. His words don't matter. His hand doesn't matter. They matter to me, I said through gritted teeth. You made it matter more by reacting. Now you'll be blamed. The disciplinary hearing wasn't as bad as it could have been. They put me on probation, restricted my access, and officially barred me from formal events. Ayari didn't speak to me for days after that. When she finally did, it wasn't the reunion I'd hoped for. Ending. I'm being reassigned, she told me quietly. Back to Silther Prime. My people believe I've grown, too human in my thinking. I stared at her. What does that mean? It means they think I've allowed emotion to cloud logic. Attachment to cloud duty. And what do you think? I think, she hesitated, looking at the stars beyond the window. I think I have never met someone like you. My heart sank. So that's it. She looked at me, her face unreadable. The transfer happens in 2 rotations. I didn't sleep for those 2 days. I wandered the station, trying to imagine it without her. Lifeless, cold. I found her again in the same biodome, the place of still hearts. She was standing near the pond, touching the water gently, watching it ripple. I stepped closer and whispered, I'll never meet someone as beautiful as you again. She froze. Her fingers hovered just above the water. Slowly she turned toward me, her luminous eyes wide. Say that again, she whispered. I said, I'll never meet someone as beautiful as you again. Tears welled in her eyes, glistening like stardust. Among my people, she said, voice shaking. Those words are part of an ancient bond rite. Wow. A promise only spoken once in a lifetime, to someone the heart chooses above all others. And blinked. I didn't know. It doesn't matter, she said, stepping forward. You meant it. Ayari raised her hand and pressed it gently against my chest. Her skin was warm, trembling. If I leave, I will regret it every moment. Then stay. I can't, she whispered. But you can come with me. My breath caught. Your planet. But I'm under station restriction. I pulled favors. You're not anymore. I stared at her, at the impossible offer. What about your people? She smiled faintly. Let them talk. I chose once to obey them. Now I choose you. 2 days later, I stood beside Ayari as our shuttle slipped away from Station Varela. I glanced back once, at the place where I'd lived a half-life. Ahead was Silther Prime, a world of glowing forests, singing rivers, and a people who might never fully accept me. But beside me was Ayari, the girl whose voice carried memories, whose eyes glowed with starlight, and who had frozen in place when I uttered the one sentence that bound us forever. I reached for her hand. She didn't hesitate this time. Together we flew toward a future unwritten, anchored by a promise and the quiet, unshakable truth that I'd never meet anyone like her again.